There comes a moment in your life when everything around you feels still, and the only thing left to hear is your own doubt. That's the turning point, the split second where most people stop and the driven choose to step forward. You weren't built to stay where you started. You weren't built to shrink for comfort or bend to fear. You were built to rise, to take what you've learned and shape it into something real. Every setback that tried to break you became the blueprint of your resilience. Every failure sharpened your focus. Every closed door pushed you toward a better one. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You only need one choice: move, start, begin, right here. Because greatness isn't lightning, it's a spark. A single spark you choose to protect, feed, and elevate until the world can't ignore the fire you built. This is your turning point. And once you take that step, something shifts. The world doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. You begin to realize that momentum isn't luck, it's discipline. It's the quiet decision to keep going when no one is watching and nothing is guaranteed. Progress feels small at first, barely noticeable, but it stacks, it compounds, it becomes the foundation of a life you once thought was out of reach. And with each step, your old limits fall away. Not because they disappeared, but because you finally outgrew them. This is how real change happens, not in dramatic moments of triumph, but in the steady rise of someone who refuses to quit. Someone who understands that purpose isn't found, it's made, forged through effort, shaped by choice, and strengthened by every moment you keep moving forward. You're not chasing a dream anymore, you're building one. With intention, with resilience, with the quiet confidence of someone who finally knows their own power. So keep going, keep creating, keep becoming. Because the fire you carry isn't just meant to light your path, it's meant to ignite everything you touch. This is your momentum, claim it. And as you move forward, you'll feel the shift inside you deepen. The doubts that once felt loud start to fade into background noise. The fears that tried to anchor you lose the grip. Because the moment you choose growth, you stop negotiating with your old self. You start aligning with the version of you that's been waiting to emerge, the one who's stronger, sharper, more intentional with every step. You begin to understand that the climb isn't supposed to be smooth, it's supposed to shape you. Pressure turns metal into a blade, and it turns you into someone unbreakable. People may not see the work you're doing, they may not understand your pace, your vision, your hunger. But that's fine. This chapter isn't about being seen, it's about becoming undeniable. Every early morning, every late night, every quiet decision to try again is carving out the future you once only imagined. And soon, the results that felt distant will start to show. Not because of luck, but because you stayed when others stopped. You endured, you adapted, you rose, and now you're stepping into a season of your life where the world starts to reflect what you've been building in silence. So breathe, focus, and keep moving. Your breakthrough isn't coming someday, it's already on its way. And as you step deeper into this journey, you'll notice something powerful. You're no longer driven by desperation, but by direction, by clarity. By the realization that you've survived every storm you once thought would break you. You're starting to understand your own strength, not as an idea, but as a truth, carved into you by every challenge you faced head-on. And now, the path ahead feels different. Not easier, but more aligned, more yours. You begin to recognize opportunities you were once too tired, too distracted, or too afraid to see. Your confidence grows quietly, like a seed pushing through the soil, slow, steady, intentional. Breaking the surface, because it knows light is waiting above. And even when the world tries to pull you backward, even when old habits whisper their familiar lies, you'll feel something inside you, refuse to shrink again. Because you've outgrown who you used to be, and returning isn't an option. This season of your life isn't about proving yourself, it's about owning yourself. Owning your choices, your growth, your place in the world. And as you keep going, the momentum you've built will start pulling you forward faster than you ever imagined. So breathe, slow, steady, stay intentional, trust the rise. Because the person you're becoming, the one you're growing into, with every step, every choice, every quiet act of persistence, is someone the world will not be able to ignore. Not now, not ever. And now, as you move into this next stretch of your journey, you'll feel something shift again. Not loud, not dramatic, just a steady confidence settling into place. You start making decisions with clearer intention, not rushing, not hesitating, simply choosing what aligns with who you're becoming. You begin to let go of the weight that never belonged to you, the expectations, the comparisons, the pressure to be anything other than yourself. And with that release, space opens. Space for clarity, space for direction, space for the kind of growth that lasts. Your vision sharpens, not because the path becomes easier, but because you're finally looking at it with honest eyes. You can see what matters, you can see what doesn't, and you can feel yourself moving with purpose instead of force. Your choices become lighter, cleaner, more aligned with the future you're building. And the noise around you, the doubt, the fear, the opinions, starts to fade into something you can observe, instead of something that controls you. This is where momentum becomes mastery. Not perfection, not pressure, just consistent, grounded movement toward the life you know you're capable of living. So breathe, stay present, and keep your pace. You're no longer climbing out of your past, you're stepping into your future with both feet firmly beneath you. And the more you trust this process, the more you'll realize that you're not becoming someone new, you're finally becoming yourself. And as you continue forward, a new layer of clarity begins to form. You start noticing the subtle things, the way your mindset has shifted, the way your reactions are calmer, the way your priorities have sharpened without you forcing anything. Growth becomes less about intensity and more about intention. You no longer chase every opportunity. You choose the ones that match your values, your energy, your direction. And that choice, that selective focus, becomes a quiet superpower. You stop running toward everything and start moving toward what matters. You begin to invest in yourself not out of desperation, but out of respect. Respect for your time, respect for your boundaries, respect for the future you're building piece by piece. And with each step, you feel more aligned, more steady, more in control of your own narrative. The noise of the world still exists, but it doesn't dictate your pace anymore. You walk through it with a sense of certainty you didn't have before, a certainty earned through everything you've survived. You start trusting your instincts, those quiet signals within you that always knew the way long before you did. And slowly, you begin to realize something powerful. You don't need a breakthrough moment to change your life. You just need to keep choosing yourself in all the small moments. Because that's where the real transformation lives, in the decisions that no one sees, but you feel. So keep your pace, keep your focus, and keep honoring the person you're becoming. You're not just moving forward, you're moving with purpose. And as you move farther along this path, you'll notice your perspective changing in ways you didn't expect. What once felt overwhelming now feels manageable. What once felt out of reach now feels like something you can grow toward one choice at a time. You begin to look at challenges differently, not as proof that you're unprepared, but as invitations to expand. You start recognizing patterns, where you used to hold back, where you used to settle, where you used to silence your own voice to stay comfortable. And instead of shrinking, you stay present. You stay open, you stay honest with yourself. That honesty becomes a compass. It points you toward what matters and away from what drains you. You stop trying to carry every burden. You stop trying to fix everything at once. You stop pretending you have to be perfect to make progress. You begin to prioritize what actually moves you forward, your peace, your discipline, your purpose, your time. And with each small commitment, your foundation strengthens. You stand a little taller. Your choices feel more deliberate. Your direction feels less fragile and more defined. You realize you don't need speed. You don't need to rush. You don't need to prove anything. All you need is consistency and the willingness to show up as the person you're becoming, not the one you used to be. So take another breath, slow and steady, and let it anchor you. The steps you're taking now are shaping a future you'll be proud to claim. And you're getting closer with every quiet, intentional move you make. And now, you've reached a point where every step you take carries meaning. Nothing is random anymore. Nothing is wasted. You're choosing your direction with purpose, with awareness, with a level of honesty you once ran from. And that honesty, that willingness to look at your life without flinching, becomes the doorway to everything you're stepping into. You no longer move out of fear, you move out of intention. You no longer chase validation, you chase alignment. You no longer cling to who you were, because you finally understand who you're becoming. And that understanding changes everything. You start protecting your energy. You start setting boundaries that should have been there years ago. You start giving your time only to what deserves it. That's growth, not loud, not dramatic, just real, steady, undeniable. You begin to recognize your strength not in how much you endure, but in what you refuse to tolerate anymore. The doubts still whisper, but you don't listen. The fear still rises, but you don't break. The old habits still call, but you don't answer. Because you finally know your value, not as a theory, but as a truth etched into you by every storm you survived. And this time, you are not moving blindly. You are moving with clarity. You are moving with intention. You are moving with a fire inside you that does not dim for anyone. So breathe, slow, deep, steady. This is the version of you that was always waiting beneath the doubt. This is the chapter you fought to reach. And now that you're here, you're not going back. Not now. Not ever.